All right, Mr. Don, what's been going on with you?
Cool. What did I do? I know.
You're Mallory now.
Amazing
I watched
week.
all of Castlevania. It was great.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I
Cool.
killed it in,
Season
like...
3's coming up soon.
Yeah, I
No,
think
it's already out.
Oh,
yeah.
That's what I killed.
Check
yeah.
it out.
I killed all of season 3.
Oh, cool.
I don't know, just a lot of adventuring.
Good.
I went to
That's
the gym,
exciting.
Went around
Because I went through some
King
adventures
Williams,
too, but we'll talk about that later. But good.
Cooked vegetarian for the first time.
Ooh.
That's good.
That's
I
it.
love vegetarian, so
That's-
like
that's-
I can go like eat that shit all day. So
Very,
good.
very, very simple week, but a good week.
Yeah. Hey, that's all you can really ask for, Mr. Josh.
Just been mostly playing Mega Man Zero on the Switch.
How's that been going? Good port.
Yeah, I think I've almost beaten it. I think I'm pretty close. I'm at a part where I'm fighting all the bosses again.
God.
Yeah, so it is. It's
They're already a
always
bitch the first time.
Yeah, it's been notorious for being a difficult series, and I believe it. I'm playing it with save assist, and that's
I'm Mike Matei. I'm
Oh, no.
coming in to tell you you're wrong.
yeah, he's gonna tell me I'm not a real gamer.
Get out.
Are you doing the thing where you beat the bosses in order to get the power-ups to beat the next boss?
So Zero
Doesn't really
not
have that, right?
quite like that. You can there was one time I had to go.
There's an
I was
optimal way.
Yeah, I was usually doing the missions like as they came by, but there was one that I skipped over just so I could get the ice sword power up, so I could fight this other dude who was weak against that. Otherwise, majority of the time I was fighting the bosses without any weapon weaknesses. So yay, I guess.
Good.
Yeah, but then once you get to
Hard
them
mode.
the second time, it's a little easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. I finally got my pre-order in for Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
Welcome to the
I'm
family.
ready for that. And then the Spawn trailer dropped for MK11, and it actually looks pretty sick.
I wish MK11 was a better game because
Yeah.
I like the
Many
guest
people wish it
characters
was a better
lot.
I know.
I do.
Yeah.
You know, we live in this weird timeline right now where MK11, or doesn't mean just go by the series names, MK and Street Fighter are probably the weakest fighting games out right now. Even Underbirth, Internet, whatever the fuck it's called now, Grand Blue Fantasy, every Arxis game basically, is like so good now when they used to be like, what's Guilty Gear? Like, Arxis shit's so hype, and Street Fighter and MK are like on the fucking bottom tier of fighting games right now. That like, it's a weird parallel because when we were younger, fucking
Those were the
Cap
main
God
things,
and
yeah.
fucking I don't know, they weren't really NetherRealm at the time, but fucking whoever Ed Boon was. What was it still NetherRealm at the time?
They were mid. Well, so
Midway.
it was acclaimed, but
Acclaimed.
then they later became Midway, or I think they were Midway, but working through acclaim.
Something like that, right?
Yeah, some weird shit.
But regardless, them and Cap God, like that was what's up. And Rare when they did Killer Instinct, and now. You know what I would love? Random tangent real quick, and I know the person that keeps saying I hijack everything is going to be really mad, but fuck them. The thing I would love to see is Killer Instinct go ahead and come again, do Killer Instinct 2, but be on multi-platform.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Because Killer Instinct was a fantastic game that the Xbox killed. Let's face it. But the PC port was fine, but by the time it got to PC, the game was over already.
Yeah.
No one really was playing it anymore, which sucks, because KI was sick. What DB Fighters did with the fucking combo assist shit, Killer Instinct was pretty good at that too. Like, there were some pretty easy combos you could, you could, easy to get into, hard to master type thing, and I feel like Killer Instinct was definitely in that thing where if you're playing against, like, two, like, noob assholes are fighting against each other, you guys could do some pretty hype stuff and it'd be kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then, like, but if someone was really good at KI, there were some infinites and some bullshit in there where you're just like, fucker. Like, but yeah. But anyways, what else? Anything else this week?
I think that pretty much covers it. I'm fairly certain.
All right, we have another. I'm into this. We have another. Mallory's back finally after 3 episodes.
I know.
So she's
It's
back.
been, it's been crazy.
Yay.
What's up?
So I went to Houston to work. Got to play a little bit of my Switch because I was in training. And then over the last week, I've just been running around New Braunfels, like being crazy, talking to people.
That sounds funny. I just
running around
imagine
being crazy.
Mallory drove to New Braunfels for no reason and started going around. Hey, I'm Mallory. What's your name? Hi, Mallory. What's your name? Like,
So I work in New Braunfels.
there
now.
we go. Thank
Sorry.
you. That's clarifying.
So,
No one follow her, please.
Yeah, please
Anyway,
don't.
go on.
So I've been in New Braunfels working, but I've been going to like different places where there's Pokestops, so I can keep up with Pokemon Go, which has been awesome. And then I got to play Cell Singularity, where you start like it's on your phone, But you start off like as amoebas and like bacteria, and then you move up and you become humans and AI and all of that. And
Sounds
then
like Spore.
Like
they
Detroit?
just put,
Sounds like Spore.
They just put in dinosaurs, which keeps upsetting me because you have to keep killing them with like asteroids. So like you'll get to a certain point and then it's like asteroid, and I was like, oh, all my dinosaurs. So it's been frustrating on that game. And then me and my nephew have been playing Plague Inc. against each other. Like we'll start.
What an appropriate time.
So
we
we
live in a
started the
society.
same. I'm not gonna say the virus, but we started the same virus at the same
Content
time.
warning.
And we ended up
Coronavirus.
beating. I ended up beating him and taking over the world in 2 years. So
Plague Inc. was fun.
I love it.
Well, I played like, wasn't there a board game version of that?
Yeah.
When I heard about it, it
I
sounded
played the
like
board game.
Pandemic, except the
Oh,
opposite
Pandemic's
of
the one I
Pandemic.
played.
what it
Okay.
is.
Because
Okay.
Pandemic, you
It's
want
the
to
opposite
stop it.
Yeah.
But there
Plague Inc.
isn't.
you're
There
trying
is
to-
apparently an expansion where you are a person trying to spread it.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair.
But I never got that one. But,
But
yeah,
I
It was
was
a fun
playing
game,
that. Me and my nephew were like, we are terrible. But it was fun. And then I went to a game shop up in New Braunfels called D-Pad, and they have a lot of
I
cool stuff.
think
So
I've
I'm
been
going to
there
start
before.
hanging
You
out
mean the cross
there
button?
when I don't have anything else to do in New
What?
Braunfels.
Cool. Well, if you're going to be working there, it's good to have those spots to chill at. That way, if you want to be there early or in between, or if traffic's shitty, you got a thing
Yeah.
to do.
So pretty much I just wander around New Braunfels right now looking for stuff to do and finding stuff to do. So
Cool.
it's been my week.
Good. Now,
How
my
have
week has
you
been
been?
awesome. The rest of the week didn't matter until, like, my day on Friday. Content warning. If you do not care about me or K-pop or both, you can skip ahead about, let's call it, I'll try to keep it within 20 minutes. You can skip ahead 20 minutes because this is going to be a thing. I feel
Okay.
so bad for a little 80-someone. I'm so sorry, man. But here we go. So here's what happened. I went to Dallas to go see one of my most favorite groups of all time, Everglow. My first K-pop show. Contrary to popular belief, it was so hard to tell people that because instead of them asking how the show was, they just were like, it's your first K-pop show? I'm like, yes, okay, I've liked it for fucking like 7 years now, but like, I'd never gone to a K-pop show. I did, and it was amazing. Like, I did go all out. I spent a lot of money to get the ideal circumstance. And it was a lot of fun. We went there. God, we left here about 5 a.m. to go to Dallas. So the only real shitty traffic we hit was, surprise, surprise, fucking Austin.
Yeah, right.
So it's smooth sailing. Austin for like almost 2 hours.
Yeah,
then
by the
smooth
time I
sailing.
got to Austin, that's when everybody woke up. and-
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
everyone fucking woke up and pissed me off. But
Jesus,
yeah, stopped in Temple, saw the weirdos there,
Nice.
and then went on our merry way. We got there at about, we went there maybe 10-ish. No, a little bit before, maybe 10-ish. Let's call it 10-ish, right? We went there. There were already some people in line. Now, people will be like, well, why would you go in line so early? Because whatever. So, the way most shows work, you have your tiers. I was VVIP, there's VIP, and then general admission. Not all shows are general admission, which is another reason this one was really cool. Usually it's seated or at a big arena, and you don't get to be super far from the group and whatever. But anyways, you want to be there, though, because you get numbered wristbands, and it's a good way to get your order of entry. Now, it's still first come, first serve once you're in, but they're like, 1, go, run to where you want to do. 2, go, run to where you want to go. 3, so on and so forth. Until it goes with a few hundred people. It was a packed show, but I was 47, so I was still at the front. So I got to be all the way at the front, which was, I was so hyped. Like, I was so worried I was going to be like, starting to get pushed back or whatever, but no, I was like all the way at the front. But before that, we got our numbered wristbands, then we had about a few hours to kill, so we fucked around and I forgot. We were in line for like 3 hours, but it was worth it in the end. At first, I was kind of like hating myself, and I was just like, we're a bunch of nerds, we're here early, this is bullshit, like, I'm gonna have to stand here for 3 hours. But went in with a group of like 6 friends, and we even made more friends in line. I had my speaker, we were just talking and bullshitting. 3 hours went by pretty fast.
Yeah.
The weather wasn't awful, which was great. But fuck the weather, I don't want to get stuck talking on that and going over my time frame. I've already used 3 minutes. But, so we did that, then we went away and fucked around for a bit. After, I got to meet the group. So there was a small batch meet and greet that they opened up, and it sold out like right away. So many people were pissed because by the time most people heard of it, if you were at work or blah, blah, it sold out already. It was like 20-something people were the only people that were allowed to like meet the group, like straight up. So we all were let in after we got our stuff checked. What was rare about this event is you got to have anything you want signed. Usually you're supplied a poster, or you're told you can bring an album, or they'll sell the album there, and that's it. It was a very rare case happenstance, and for someone who's going to be like, how do you know all this? It's because I know a ton of people who do go to K-pop shows, so they kind of briefed me ahead of time. Mm-hmm. I could bring whatever I wanted. So, what I did, and John, I'm sorry because now you can't buy it. I triggered every Pokemon fan and got my limited edition. So oh yeah, this works on an audio medium. Yeah. I'm holding up my limited edition Pokemon Switch Lite that is out of print and going for a lot of money now, and got it signed and personalized. I'll pass it around for show and tell. Dude. I was really happy. One of the key moments is one of the girls was so cute. They were trying to spell it right, so to show them, I forgot to write it down on a post-it note. I didn't know that was courtesy because again, never been to a K-pop show. So to improvise, and everyone in line was like, "Dude, that dude's smart." I know I'm smart. I busted out my license and I was like, "Here's how to spell my name." One of them messed up though, and I felt so bad because I didn't want to be mean. Like, if they told me to write in fucking Hangul Korean, I'd be so fucked. You know what I mean? Like, they at least somewhat know. So she wrote an F. And I go, oh, no, P. And she goes, P? And then she fixed it. And I go, yeah. And then she goes, and I pointed at the A, and she drew an O, because they look similar, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
And she does an O, and I go, yeah. And then and then I go, now A. And so I became Poatric.
I like it.
Which a lot of people, I was joking with the people in line. I said, I'm legally changing my name now. Sorry, Mom and Dad. This is my name now. I'm Poatric from now on. Hopefully by the time my mom hears this episode, I will already have hung out with them and broke the news ahead of time. But if she hears this somehow before I'm over, which is not possible because I'm coming over tonight, oops. But now you know, I'm Poatric now. But it was really cool, though. Another really cute moment is their leader, EU. She's, like, really short. Like, she's, like, tiny. She's, like, 5'1" or some shit like that. Jesus. She was really tiny, and her stage name is EU. And so when she wrote it, she was so cute. She just went down. She was like, EU. And then she said it so proud, and I was just like, yeah. And she was like, and then they knew a good amount of English. Some of them were more versed in English than others, but the other ones still learned enough for the tour. Mm-hmm. So we were able to have basic conversation. I thanked them. I told some of them. Nice. I told some of them they were pretty or whatever. I know, and this case is just perfect for covering it. Like, so I don't. My friend's like, "Are you gonna do this?" I'm like, "First of all, I'm gonna give this shit like 8 hours to dry," which I just sat that shit out of my hotel room for like
top coat it.
Yeah. I know, I kind of should, right?
$200.
I know, right? But anyways, a lot of people thought the Switch was a good idea because everyone else pretty much did. Posters, but shit you expect, right? Legit, people were like, this dude, yeah. knows what's up. They would never know it was my first show. Anyways, and so the girls too. So gaming's obviously a lot bigger in Korea and Japan. So whereas some other person here, and my friend's gonna kick out, this is gonna be a big joke on the way, but they'd be like, check out this virgin having me sign his fucking Switch. They thought it was they were actually like really honored. Like, they were, like, in awe. Like, the first girl, when I handed it to her, I said, I want you guys to sign this. And she was like, really? Like, because, you know, like, this fucking, like, just $200 thing, sure? Like, you don't want to do a $30 album? Because I did bring that just in case I, pussed out. Mm-hmm. But, I went through with it, and she was just like, wow, yeah. And then I got to the one member a year, and she's Chinese or whatever, but she was just like, when she took it, she was like, whoa. And then she goes, I like video games too. And I was just like, I was just like dying the whole time. I was just like, The thing that was surreal though about the whole experience is, guy, I have 12 minutes. Shut up. They were so like, I honestly think they look way better even in person. Like, you see filters, you see all the video, all the post editing I'm sure they do in the video, and you're like, there's probably gonna look good in person, but I know whatever. I feel like they looked better. Like, seeing them, like, yes, they had makeup and everything on, but like, you would have seen flaws, or you would have seen shit where like makeup can only cover so much. Like, you know what I mean? And I know someone's gonna be like, well, what about the makeup? Shut the fuck up. Makeup can only cover so much. So like, seeing them in person like that was like, it was so like unreal. I just couldn't believe the distance that you guys are at is even further than I was from them. Like, it was crazy. Like, seeing them look up, they were so polite, and like seeing them just like look in the eyes or whatever, it was nice. And then I got to my favorite, Mia, and I told her, first I greeted her, hello. I'm not going to do it now because I'm going to sound like a big ass Korea boo, but I greeted her in Korean, like, hello, and then she was like already like, wow, okay, like, cool. And then I told her that she was my favorite, and then she did this squeal. Like, she's very animated, my favorite one in that group, and she's like super like hyper and crazy, and she like squealed that I said that she was my favorite, and then she said thanks, and then she was signing it, and then I told her that I love her in Korean, and then she squealed again, and she like shook and she squealed, and then she like made little hearts at me, and I died. And then I got to the last one, who's like, she's 5'8"-ish, she's 5'8", and like, what do you call it, and she's really cool too. She's probably a lot of people's favorites because she's like super like beautiful or whatever, and, like, hers was like, I don't know, when I got to her, I was like already dead. Like, by the time I got there, so I was just like, Hi Kevin, and then so you know I had him sign that, and that was really cool. So that was all good. Then we fucked off for a while, let that shit process. After I spent a bunch of money on merchandise and pretty much got like one of everything. They did run out of hats, which pissed me off because obviously I'm a hat person, so like that was a little heartbreaking. But my friend got the last hat, so at least it was him and not someone I was going to jump in the parking lot. Yeah. He's too big to do that, so I couldn't do that. Because I didn't want to, not because I couldn't. Let's see. Yada, 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 yada. And then, so we went on later. Oh, after the fan meet, we actually, before I fucked off, reverse, I got to take a picture with them. That was another perk of it, is like the rest of it was like most concerts is a group photo, so you're in batches of 10, sometimes even 20 if they're a really big act. Take a picture, you fuck off. Take a picture, you fuck off. I got to do an individual photo with them, which was extremely rare too. And the thing where I died further, as if I didn't just die, like, seeing them in person or whatever, I went up to them before I took my photo, and I just instinctively, because I just do it out of habit after so long, I like, bowed and greeted them, and they were so surprised, because, like, they're just like, oh, whoa, we're back in Korea, like, this is a thing. So they started bowing also, and then they were giggling, and then my two favorites, Mia and Aisha, both said, cute, and then I got, I went back to take a photo with them, and they were just like, he's so cute, and I was just like, shit, I'm dying, you guys are fucking killing me, but in a good way.
Yeah.
And then I asked them, what pose they wanted to do, and they said heart, and I said, okay, fine, hearts, and so we did the hearts, and we took our photos, so that was really cool. Then I had to Photoshop it, because I was sweaty and greasy as fuck, so I had to clean that shit up, and look like a human being, and not some fucking chuckle. I look like a chuckle fuck still, because I'm smiling like a motherfucker, but at that point, could you blame me? Then we went back, they did a fucking amazing show. I'll tell you guys later what they did. They did some awesome special stages. It was their first stop on their first U.S. tour ever, so they've never performed in the U.S. before. Wow. Got greeted to a huge crowd of hundreds of people. It was packed to the brim. Like, it was loud, like everyone was fucking chanting along to all the lyrics, like it was really cool. They were so... The cool thing about the whole experience is they were pretty much as excited, if not more, to see us than we were to see them. Like, they were so happy, and like... By the end of it, as they were starting to wind down and everything, it became really, like, emotional. Like, the crowd was very feeling it, and, like, they were, like, trying not to cry, but, like, obviously feels up and everything, and they thanked the crowd. It's cool they had, like, a translator go over so they'd speak in Korean, and then the translator would speak overhead and everything, and they were very, like, happy to be there. And, like, it was awesome to see a group be so fucking, like, thankful, you know what I mean? That, like, all these fucking hundreds of Koreaboos made it their, like, fucking... Their journey complete to, like, tour, like, actually the world. U.S. tour is a big deal because those are usually hard to book, or it's not usually, like, obviously overseas touring's expensive, so for it to be worth to them is a whole, thing or whatever. But yeah, so it was really cool. It was cool being literally, like, you never forget your first, and in that sense, like, it was cool to know that we were that for them, and that was really cool. So then we, after the show, they did their amazing set. It was like the fastest hour and 40 minutes of my life. Like, I swear to you, I did not think it was fucking that long. If I, watches are lies, because there's no way. But that was an awesome time, and then we got to do our final thing, another perk. I got to meet him basically 3 times that day, which was great, the fucking meet and greet, then the photo, and then now I got to see him again. Oh, technically a 4th time, because we got to each, like, go through the line, we got to greet him one last time, say our goodbyes, and I told my favorite that she was my favorite again, and I said that I love her. And she fucking freaked out again. And then the leader, who's the short one, she, like, looked over and laughed at us. She was like, fucking nerds. But anyways, no, but, like, she like, laughed at, like, her reaction because she was, like, freaking out. One of my friends made a good point that it's as if she was, like, a fan of me. Like, the way, like, she was, like, freaking out, it just enhanced the moment. Then we did our final photo with them and fucked off. And I told them, to be safe and have a good trip and everything like that. So it was nice. Then we went away. And then we each got a set of photo cards that were each actually signed by them, not just printed on. Like, they actually signed all of them and all that stuff. So that was cool. And my Switch is cool, although some people would say ruined. I think enhanced.
It's cool.
But yeah, I people are gonna be
haters are gonna hate.
Haters are gonna hate. Yeah, that's exactly
They
it.
hate you because they ain't you.
But
Exactly.
yeah. It was a grand time, and I was
Just
happy.
jelly.
They were. What a bunch of asshats.
Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was good. Worth the, like, 8-hour round trip, which my friend was a trooper for fucking driving. Fucking big ups to you, man. Like, cause fucking hell, man, that must have been a fucking rigorous.
Yeah,
that's a drive.
At least he had company.
That's true.
I've done
you
that
went by
drive
yourself.
solo.
Oh God.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
In the rain.
God, and the weather was nice, somewhere in the 70s. But the thing about the 70s is they're not quite in the 80s. Yeah. Just like our guest, I'm going to call him. It was the 80 from Dual Core. You can wake up now. I know. What a fucking story that was.
Segue. That was good.
80 from Dual Core. You there, brother?
Yes. I'm LOLing at that transition. That's amazing.
That's one of the better segues.
That's one of the better. It's been pretty
bad.
I almost feel like it's the only. I'm pretty sure there were a few. I just don't remember.
They were all bad.
That
was one of the only good ones. I know. I had to try.
That was a good one.
I know that's not much you can normally say, right?
But how was the weather?
Mr. 80, how you doing over there, buddy?
I am. I'm fighting through a hangover.
That whole bang on about shit must not have helped.
Yeah.
But there you go. Oh, right. Because before I forget, Mr. 80 here from Dual Core, nerdcore rapper, musician man. Everything's really cool. So now there, you know who it is, just in case. I do get told that I forget a lot. That maybe someone doesn't know. I know a lot of our fan base has a lot of cross section with nerdcore, which is why a lot of our guests have been. But there we go. Just in case y'all didn't know. So, fighting through a hangover. Wild night last night, or?
Yeah, accidentally. I was hanging out with DJ Rockman. And,
cool.
Nice.
We're just down the street at at the local bar, which I haven't been to because I haven't been home much. And so it was cool to be in and see everybody. And Rockman is just like, he's always a blast to hang out with. I think like his knowledge of nerdcore just alone is like greater than my depth of knowledge about all of music that I know about, and he knows like way more about a ton of other stuff. So it's always a blast hanging out with him.
Yeah, it's cool dude. Quick question, because we were talking about this beforehand. So I do want to know. You know how the whole South by Southwest canceled by coronavirus, as many things have been canceled by coronavirus. Are you all still gonna try to band together and do something, or is that like, I know Nerdcore Days is still technically going on, but do you know if y'all are still gonna try to do that showcase show?
Yeah, so let's see, he's still got his Nerdcore Days stuff going. I'm gonna try to pop in for some of those shows. Usually it's like they're going on during the day while I'm at work, so I usually can't make it over.
Right.
But I just got an email today from the venue, Flamingo Cantina, where we were supposed to have the showcase, and they still want to put the show on.
Yes.
So I know at least one other artist has already canceled and like refunded their travel and everything.
Damn.
But I replied and was like, I'm totally down. Lex is going to crash with me if Lex ends up coming to town still. And so I think Lex also wants to play. So the Flamingo Cantina folks replied, and it sounds like most of the bill is still intact. So if anything, I think they're still going to put the show on Saturday, and then I think we'll just have like longer set times, and you won't have to buy like a South by badge or anything like that. It'll just be the normal like whatever cover charge to get in.
Hell yeah, which is almost in a way works out better because that's the only real event we were kind of looking forward to. So hopefully, I'm sure they'll release details as it goes. The crazy thing about this, when we saw that bill, not just did we want to go already because of all the acts that were on there, but like half of them, like literally half of the bill has been on this podcast. Like Shubs and Bill, nice. Lex, fucking Oh My, Sky Blue does the theme song, and like it's IQ. So like it was just this perfect like family feel. I feel like it would be such a whole like all that stuff that like. I really hope that everyone else is still able to go because I really wanted to greet and have a fun time with that. So hopefully we'd still rock it then. Good. So that's definitely something I was curious about. So hopefully there's that.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. So going to the roots. Dual Core, a little bit of background history for those who don't know. How did Dual Core come to be?
Let's see. I was on an underground hip-hop forum with C64, and he was just a producer in England, and I was just a rapper in Cincinnati, and I was like, man, this guy is like amazing at making beats. I want to get good enough at rap that I can do a song with him. And so I worked on becoming a much better rapper than I was, and eventually he sent me an email one day and was like, hey, do you want to do this song together? And we did, and then we did a bunch of stuff together actually before we were actually dual core. Okay. And I was actually kind of done with rap. I started out as like a freestyle battle rapper sort of. And so I was like really tired of doing all these freestyle battles, I used to like hop in the car every weekend with one of my other friends, and we would just drive to whatever battle we could go to, and we'd split whatever we won. And all the battle rappers stopped freestyling, so it was like really easy to win. It was like kind of boring. And so I was considering quitting rap, and then he was like, "Do you want to do an album?" T64 asked if I wanted to do an album together, and I was like, "Yeah, but I want to rap about like nerdy stuff." And he was like, "Dope." So we did that, and that was 01, and we put that out in 2007, and then we have just been making music since then.
Cool. There you go. That also answered my second question, which was, in the beginning of your 8 Mile narrative, if it eventually led to, was it always nerdy or not? So you eventually decided on being nerdy. So I'm assuming before, in the freestyle battles and stuff like that, it was more just general stuff, whatever came to mind, and not necessarily nerdy.
Actually, the first rap that I ever wrote was about hacking. And so there was a kid I had AOL as a kid, and so there was a kid that you could program with and hack stuff with. My parents lived on like the wrong side of the township line, like literally across the street. Everybody got high-speed internet, and we were like stuck on dial-up 5 ever. I was hacking with this kid on the AOL, and we would talk about hip-hop all the time. But he one day he wrote me this email, and it was like a rap verse that he had written, basically like dissing me about like how he was a better programmer and hacker and stuff. And he kept like bothering me to write a response, but I was like, I'm not a rapper, you know. Like, I just listen to hip hop, and so he bugged me enough that I finally wrote a verse in reply, and it was like really fun. I enjoyed doing that, and so that was like all my first verses were all very like sci-fi and nerdy.
Okay, cool. Nice. That's interesting. One thing I like hearing about these stories is just because like the genre itself of nerdcore is so diverse. I sound like a broken record for people who've heard the episodes before, but I always like to say it is like you really never know what to expect, because at first I thought I knew. Back when I only knew like MC Lars and MC Chris probably, I thought I knew nerdcore, but then I got introduced to all these fantastic artists that are just so different. You know, you go someone from like, you know, I used to play Atari on the rainy days, blah, 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 and then you have like Shubzilla, I'm gonna stop that bitch in the fucking neck with my fucking heels. And I'm like, okay, this is nerdcore, of course, yes, okay, yeah, I didn't see that coming. Shubs fucking shouts out, man, fucking my Filipina sister, man, she's fucking wilding out all the time. Like, when we saw her live, dude, that shit was fucking so good. I love
yeah, she is a phenomenal live performer.
Yeah, for real. And then Bill's so timid, and like fucking Bill's just chilling back there, throwing down the beats, and she's just fucking ready to kill someone. That's just fucking great.
His beats playing so well. They're such a good team together.
Yeah, for sure. And like when I see all the other people Bill collaborates with, it's not, the dude's talented, so it's nice to see him get out there. Like seeing his name on so many credit rolls is fantastic. So that's really cool. So you didn't even start out as a rapper technically. You just were a fan of hip hop. Some influences, some people that you were a fan of at the time, pre-rapper life?
Yeah, I really liked, and I think still probably my favorite rapper is Pharoah Monch. Pharoah Monch was like a huge influence for me, and Cannabis as well. Like, I didn't really identify with hip hop because of a lot of it, you know, like was just the subject matter was outside of my realm of experience.
Right.
But I grew up listening to like a lot of like Wu-Tang Clan and Tupac, and then I remember hearing Cannabis, and he had this line. He's on this song 4321 with LL Cool J, which ended up being like a diss track from LL Cool J to Cannabis, but it had like some other rappers on there, Redman, Method Man, DMX, and Cannabis comes in with this line, and he says like, "I'm the illest rapper alive. Watch me prove it. I snatch your crown with your head still attached to it." And I'd like never heard anyone rap like that before. And I was like, what? And so that made me like way more engaged with hip hop, and that was like a huge influence for me. His first album, Cannabis, has like all of these like sci-fi and tech and nerdy raps and stuff as well. So he's like one of the like original nerdcore rappers, I would say, just never identified as that.
There you go. Yeah, no, that's really cool. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember one time Patrick and I had a conversation about that, how nerdcore, it only seems like a weird branch, because like even Wu-Tang, I think you could argue was kind of nerdcore. I mean, Wu-Tang Clan, like, it was all based off those old, you know, like David Shaw, the Shaw Brothers.
The Shaw Brothers, yeah.
You know, making references to Voltron and shit like that. You know.
Yeah,
true.
That's true. They're like proto nerdcore.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But
that like the Deltron 3030 album,
yeah,
definitely
that's true.
You know, got like a nerdcore feel to it. Lupe Fiasco, like his, first music that he was putting out was, rapping about like I think Tick Push was his first big single. It was rapping about a kid with a skateboard. So,
yep.
And he's got like I think on that same first album of Food and Liquor, I think he's got a song about like his giant robot and everything. And so it's pretty nerdy, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a funny thing is like, for those who don't really know, Wu-Tang Clan comes off as so fucking like, well, it is still violent. I guess to say it isn't, but context given, you realize this dude is just obsessed with fucking kung fu films. Like, all the lyrics, like even like, chop your head off and all this bullshit, protect your neck. Like, it's like still, in the essence, he's basically just chronicling like kung fu movie film scenes. So it's just hilarious how like, given context, it's a little less like, not any less cooler, but it is a little more like, oh, okay, like this dude isn't an insane person that's gonna kill me. He might, but
I mean,
some of them were
Can't
nuts.
take it off the table.
Yeah, but
just kung fu nerd.
Obviously, you've played a lot of shows. Any touring story that kind of, when you get asked the question, like talking and getting asked about touring stories, does a story particularly come to mind that you like to mention or tell?
Yeah, I guess the one that came to mind when you brought this question up was my producer came all the way over from England to play at DEF CON with us. And DEF CON is the largest annual hacker conference, and I think it's get about 30,000 people in the U.S. And we play a bunch of shows there every year. And so I'd been playing at DEF CON, and my producer flew over with his, at the time, girlfriend, now wife. And they flew in, and I think like on one of the first nights we had like 4 shows booked or something like that. So we get to the 4th show and it's like at this hotel and it's supposed to be a pool party, but it's like 3 a.m. and he's dead. He's like, I just want to go to sleep. And I'm like, it's fine. Like, 3 a.m. I bet like there's not going to be anybody here. We probably won't even have to play. We'll just show up and be like, that's it. Like we'll call it a night. And we get there and it's packed. It's like packed full of people. And so he's like, all right, like, let's do it. And so we start playing and I got Dale Chase with me. And so we do this freestyle and I'm like, yeah, like, I'm just going to say, drink all the booze and you guys yell, hack all the things. And that was like the start of the song, All the Things, which ended up in Watch Dogs 2. But it just started as this freestyle at like, now like 4 a.m. at this huge hotel pool party. And then after the set, like we're all just dead tired and somebody gets on the mic or Dale gets on the mic and he's like, yeah, if we can get $1,000 donated to the EFF, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, Int 80 will jump in the pool with his clothes on. And I'm like, nobody ran this by me. I don't agree with this.
It's like,
and so I'm like, what, whatever. Like, it's 5 a.m. now. We've been playing this party. I'm like, nobody's gonna come up with $1,000. Everybody's like calling it, and then so I'm like, whatever. And 30 seconds later, he gets back on the mic, and Dale's like, all right, we got the $1,000 for the EFF. Like, God damn it. So take my cell phones out of my pocket and my wallet and everything, and then I just did a flip into the pool with all my clothes on. And I really wish I would have taken my shoes off because my shoes were squishy for the rest of the shows in Vegas through the weekend.
Oh God, that's really cool though. That's a story. That's definitely a pretty dope tale. That's like one of those like movie scenes, like a fucking kind of party getting fucking wild, and it's almost like a comedic turnabout about the $1,000 because I too would not think at 5 a.m. fucking come up with that kind of money.
And miraculously, Dual Core survived as a duo after that event because C64 was super jet lagged coming in, and so he's like, oh man, like I'm so tired. I'm like, well, here, just like have a vodka Red Bull, and they're like, let's go down to the merch table and we're just gonna sell merch all day. Yeah. And then we get done selling merch and he'd be like, oh my God, I need a nap. And I'm like, oh no, like it's time to go sound check for all the shows. Here, just like have another vodka Red Bull. And so I just like am feeding him vodka Red Bull and he was just like dead. It was like a gauntlet. I mean, it is a gauntlet, but he's, I guess he's not as much of a sociopath as I am. And so I was like, yeah, let's do this. Come on. And he's like, I just want to sleep. And I'm like, no. So he was about ready to quit the group, I think, by the end of all of that.
Oh, wow.
I can believe it. I know that feel of being tired. That's the thing, is like, when you got especially when you're a touring artist or otherwise, that day or days or weeks or months is fucking busy. Like, that's a whole fucking thing. So, yeah, no, that's... I can only imagine how he felt, but what a trooper. You guys didn't fall apart over that, which is like...
Yeah. And amazingly, so the end of that DEF CON, we had like, I think 3 shows scheduled on Saturday night. And the first one was the 303 party, which is a hacker group from Denver. 303 is their area code. And so I think we played that show with Whitey Cracker in front a lot. And I had to wrap in everyone else's sets, both Bryce's and Damien's. So I had stayed around for their sets. And then, like, I think Damien's ended at midnight. And we were supposed to go to our next party or our next show. But the DJ that was supposed to come in after Frontalot didn't show up. And so I was like, oh, we'll cover, you know, like we'll play. And then whenever the DJ shows up, we'll bounce out to the next show. But the DJ never showed up, and we ended up playing this like 4-hour freestyle set.
Oh,
and
man.
so
Jesus.
G64 is up there, just like, I think he went through all the beats that we had on the MacBook like twice. Like, I don't think there was enough music to cover the full 4 hours, but he did it just like amazingly. Everybody was like going nuts, and Dale and I just like freestyled for like 4 hours straight, and it was like an incredible like party live atmosphere thing.
That is an absolute awesome Iron Man fucking set. Like, just,
Yeah.
that's a gauntlet. Like, for real. That really was. You weren't kidding. Before I forget, you mentioned Watch Dogs. Now, I remember that they did have a, like, local artist pitch-in thing, which had its, controversy around it and stuff like that. People, but we're not going to talk about that, just in case that might get you in trouble. But, did that come about through the contest thing, or were you selected otherwise to be in the soundtrack?
Oh yeah, so the local artist submission thing, I think that was for the new Watch Dogs, right? Or was that for Watch Dogs 2?
I think it was for Watch Dogs
one, wasn't it?
Oh, I thought it was for 2. I think they're doing it for both, because the one where the bad commercial with Franco, that for sure was for 2. Because Dave Franco, or is it which Franco? One of the Franco brothers is in that really... It's Dave, right? I think it's Dave Franco's in that really cringy commercial where he asks basically for you to do music for the game for free. Basically, in so many words. He basically goes, wouldn't it be cool if your badass music was in this game and the payback would be a tiny fee plus exposure? So
you get paid in exposure like all artists.
Yep, of course. Yep, that was like, there's a lot of controversy there, because they're basically like how much it would cost to license like fucking Static X and all this other shit, or get a bunch of hopefuls, throw them in there. So I was curious if that came through that or not, because I know they did it for 2 also, if not the new one also. But
the way that we got our spot in Watch Dogs 2 was that they were Ubisoft was just starting out on doing all the game like storyline and everything, and so they sent a guy to DEF CON, and that guy was being taken around by somebody else at DEF CON, and so the liaison was like, all right, yeah, like you got to go see this talk, and you got to go do this, and you got to go see dual core, and the guy's like from Ubisoft, like, who's dual core or what's dual core or whatever. So they bring this guy to our show, and he saw us play all the things and saw like everybody going crazy. And he like emailed me immediately and was like, hey, like I work for Ubisoft. Please don't tell anybody, but we're making Watch Dogs 2, and I really need your music in the game. Like, is this something you're interested in? And so I was like, yeah, like send me NDA and let's do it. And so we did the NDA and all that stuff, and then they put it in the game. It was actually kind of funny. I was playing I think about a year later, I want to say, I was playing a show in Louisville with Method Man and Redman, and somehow like a screenshot of Watch Dogs 2 leaked out, and it had the like MP3 player up on the interface, and someone like posted it and was like, holy shit, like dual core is in Watch Dogs 2, and like there's our song like in the MP3 playlist. And I was like, it's not from Ubisoft, and they haven't said anything about it, so I'm like, I can't say anything about it. So like everyone is like blowing it up on engagements on social media, and I'm like, hey, look over here, I'm hanging out with Method Man and Redman. So like totally ignoring the Watch Dogs.
Yeah, dude, because you can get in a lot of trouble for that if they thought you did it.
Yeah.
But then the next day, Ubisoft tweeted, and they were like, we're super excited to announce that we've got dual core and Watch Dogs 2.
Smart to just give up.
But then I was then I was able to post about it, and my producer knew. And so he was just like, when he saw the playlist, though, we didn't know any of the other artists that were going to be on there. And so he saw this playlist, and he's like, holy shit, like, how are we in this game with, like, all these amazing artists? And I was like, well, clearly they signed us first, and then they approached, Run the Jewels and Apex Twin and Danny Brown, and they were like, hey, we've got dual core in the game, so you need to like jump on this game. And everyone was like, oh, of course, like if dual core's in it, then we definitely have to be in the game.
That's it. That's awesome. And what a cool thing to say.
My producer's like, yeah, I'm sure that's exactly how it works.
But yeah, no, that's incredible to be on there. But it does seem like you got recruited like a proper, no offense to the people who went through the contest, but it seems like you did get approached as a proper, like you were the celeb, they were the exec type thing.
Yeah.
So now that that's the case, and I feel like I can now say this in confidence without getting you guys in trouble. So where a lot of the controversy came through is like, there was a lot of stuff with there. Basically, Ubisoft kind of made you it's their music now. They had that whole thing where like, this is our song now that you're making for us. You get like, it was a tiny sum of money. It was like $1,000 or some shit like that. Like some menial amount that like production costs would not have covered. Then you also had to go through this rigorous thing. And what happened is they only chose shit that was like pro quality musician, like if it was even slightly meh, your ass got rejected. There was even this band from overseas. I forgot if they were from like the Middle East or whatever, but like there was this really cool band that is awesome. They sounded great. When I heard the story, I looked them up and they were good. Sorry, I don't remember what they were called, but even they got rejected and they were just like, you know what? Fuck this. We just want everyone to hear our music. Now, if Ubisoft's not going to use this, we're just going to give it for free. We want everyone to hear our stuff. And they did, and it was fantastic. So people were like, holy shit, if they're rejecting these guys, who the fuck are they choosing?
Yeah.
And then, you know what I mean? Like,
because you're not fucking sending a demo reel, like a demo tape, and then like, hey, come to this studio that we'll provide.
Which is what
make like a
what you would think a lot
quality,
of what this kind of contest would be is that exactly you shoot them your bullshit demo because maybe you only have a MacBook and a Yeti mic, and or not even maybe just a typical blue one even, and you Yeti good microphones for podcasters. Anyways, and then you want to like
this is not a sponsor.
Then you think you just you'll hit it with a really grainy half-assed demo, not half-assed musically, but half-assed quality. And then they're gonna fly you in, be like, hey, you guys are a badass band, person, DJ, whatever. Throw you on into a pro studio, record your stuff. No, you basically had to send them at the quality that was just gonna get slapped into the game. Basically, if you did not give them the final quality, universal label produced bullshit, you were out. They basically didn't even get time. If they even heard fucking pop at the beginning or grain from the thing, they probably just threw your shit in the trash. It's just what it was. And that's why there's a lot of controversy around it. It was like, do you just want professionals then? Because you can just say, hey, professionals, give us your music for free. Because that's kind of how it came off. So... And Ubisoft, that's all on us, not dual core. He had no say in saying I could say this story or not. I just said it. So there's that.
I mean, to play devil's advocate, I can totally see the Ubisoft perspective as well, right? You're making this like huge AAA title. You want it all to come off well, and then you've got like a game studio is a huge undertaking for any release.
Absolutely.
So you want like something that's super easy, cut and paste, like turnkey to just drop in and go.
For sure.
I would assert from having worked with them, my assertion is that they probably just wanted to do it out of like a way to benefit artists that, are already making pro music and just don't have that exposure yet.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Agree about like getting paid in exposure is like kind of whack. Fortunately for us, we were able to keep all of our rights and everything, and we just like licensed them a copy of the song for them to use.
Great. And that's exactly why I wanted to hear the story first before I went into that whole fiasco, because if you guys ended up going through the other way, I would have felt like a real dick. So there's that. So again,
I gotta give one extra shout out to Ubisoft, because they went like above and beyond for our music. Like I don't know if any of y'all have played Watch Dogs 2, but in the middle of it, there's like this scene where you go to Burning Man out in the desert, and it's like a big cinematic scene, and they're like playing our song intentionally in that cinematic scene. And they had told the liaison, or the guy from Ubisoft had emailed me, and he's like, hey, I'm trying to get your music like worked into this particular scene. And he's like, it's in the draft version right now, but he's like, so it may not end up in the final, but I'm trying to like get you some like extra exposure in the game. And I thought that was really dope of him to go above and beyond like that.
Shouts out to that guy. He seems like a cool dude. So there you go.
Yeah.
Respect.
I totally tried to like cheat code and like hit him up when they announced like that there was going to be another Watch Dogs. And so I was like, hey, we had a blast, having our music in the game. We definitely would love to do it again. And he's like, I'm not working on the title. I'm working on something else. And he's like, but I can try to like put you in touch with the people that are or whatever.
As is the industry. I mean, the fucking game industry is a fucking revolving door. It's crazy.
Right.
What was I going to say? Oh, right. So, what moment was it where you guys, obviously, from the tales you've told us, y'all have done all sorts of great, crazy shit. Like, at this point, you guys couldn't be any more legitimate. Now, when did you first realize kind of like how big you were getting? / what was one of your first high-profile collabs?
Let's see. The we made it moment was actually shortly after the first album. Mm-hmm. I thought it was like pretty wild that anybody was interested in our music. When we actually made our first album, I had like a couple copies of it on a CDR, and I was going up to a hacker conference in Cleveland, Ohio, and I was in the car with my friend and two of my friends, and I played the album for them. And my friend is like, "This is amazing! Like, how much are you selling this for?" And I was like, I just have a couple copies of the CD in case anybody wants one, but like I wasn't planning to sell it. And he's like, "No, you got to sell this for like $10." And so we got up to the conference, and I was like walking through the hotel to just go check in. And this guy stopped me and was like, "Hey, like, I heard you got an album out. Do you have a copy? Can I buy it right now?" And I was like, "Holy crap." I'm just like walking in with my stuff. And so that was like super crazy to me just to start off with. And we actually, we could not burn, we had like all of our laptops on this like table burning CDs as fast as we could. And we couldn't burn them fast enough for people that are like waiting for them. And there was a guy there that was filming the talks, and he had these towers that had like 6 or 7 drives in them that would just like duplicate DVDs in like 2 minutes or whatever. So he gave us one of the towers to use to like burn copies of the CD. Legend. And so we were just like burning all these copies and like couldn't keep up with the demand. So that was like really crazy. So it was like the first dual core show. And then maybe like a month or 2 after that, I had sent an email to Penny Arcade and had been like, "Hey, like, I'm a huge fan of the comic. I've read it for years. I'm in dual core. We have this album that we put out. It's nerdcore hip hop." And I knew that they were like fans of Front a lot and stuff. So I sent them an MP3 of the song about Penny Arcade. It's from the first album. And then I think I like took off for the day. And I came back home like later, and I logged into my Gmail, and there's just like a ton of unread messages. And I'm like, what is going on? And I'm like paging back through all of the unread messages. And the first unread one is a reply from one of the guys at Penny Arcade. And he's like, "This is amazing. Is it cool if we post about it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's cool." But then before I could even like reply to that, I hadn't even seen the email. The next unread email was him buying the album. And then all of the remaining emails that were unread were all album orders because Penny Arcade had posted about it on their site. And I think at the time they had like 2 million readers or something like that. Wow. And so it was just this like huge springboard for us. And I was like, holy crap, like a bunch of people on the internet like are listening to our music right now.
That's amazing. Like and so quickly. Like usually you hear about it like, oh, then 2 years later, oh, then 3 years later, we did this tour and then we blew up. Like, like that's almost instant gratification, which is rare. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was super random and unexpected. And then for collaboration, I think I'm obligated to go with the story of how Magnificent Seven got made. Which is a song on our 4th album, Next Level, and it has a bunch of rappers in it. And so basically we had Next Level done, everything was like good to go. And I think it was about 2 weeks before I needed to ship the CD off for replication. And I had this idea, I was like, oh, what if you had a song that was like written via like Twitter? And it was just like a bunch of rappers all like tweeting back and forth at each other to like compose the song. And so I emailed everybody that's on the song. Let's see, I think it's Frontalot, Schaefer, Lars, Mega Ran, Beefy, Whitey Cracker. I think that's it. There's 7 of us total. And I was like, hey, I have this crazy idea for a song, but I need to get like the vocals in like a week from now so that we have time to like mix everything. And I was like, I totally understand it's a really short time frame. If y'all can't make it happen, no big deal. And so everybody was like, yeah, like we're in. And we wrote the song in an email thread. So a touch disingenuous, but it's all right. And everybody got their verses recorded, and we got the song written, and we put the song together and threw it on the album right before we shipped it off for replication. And I was so impressed that it worked And then everyone was there except for Mega Ran at Nerdapalooza. And so my old friend Remy stood in for Mega Ran, and everybody got up on stage and read their lyrics off of their phone, and we were able to perform Magnificent Seven live once. Awesome. And so it's pretty amazing.
Nice.
That's really cool. Well, hopefully one day it can happen again with Ran. That would be, unless it has already. But if you all
it has not, but that would be amazing. I love seeing Mega Ran live. He's so incredible as a performer.
Yeah.
So that's right, everybody. Tweet about it and talk about it. Everyone asks for that. Everyone wants to see that. So everyone get that to happen.
Make a trend.
Man, Ran is like, all y'all are like, have since then have all grown so much. Like, it's insane. Like, the amount of like, because I just remember watching Mega Ran and he's just performing at our local anime convention. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden it's like, yo, he's on fucking WWE with New Day and fucking, he's just chilling with Xavier Woods. And he's in the Guinness Book of World Records. He's got a Grammy. And I'm just like, oh, my little man's grown up. He's blown up so much. Like, it's crazy, you know? And everyone so far, from the stories I either read or from the people on the podcast, like, it's so cool to see, you know. I really hope we'll have that tail one day. Hopefully we'll get that tail. There you go. Not if, but when. Yeah. So, a word on your latest release, and if there's anything you can say about any future releases, or at least something that you're working on, that will work too. But a little word on your latest stuff.
Sure. Downtime is, I guess, is our last album. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. So yeah, Downtime came out, I think, at the end of 2017. Also, since then, I made a project with Michael Kill. Which is, the project is called The Troubleshooters, and then the EP that we put out is called Lead Time. So those were both like pretty dope projects to make. Downtime took a while to write. I had like a bunch of stuff happen in my life between the release of All the Things and the release of Downtime, including moving from Cincinnati to San Francisco and then San Francisco to Austin. And the beats on Downtime are like some of my favorite production in hip hop that I've heard. I love the work that C64 did on it. It's an incredible listen front to back. Like I always listen to it like all the way through, just because he put so much effort into like organizing it into this like whole, I don't know, this whole experience. So the bummer about Downtime is that that it took so long to make, but B, that it's kind of got this like dark sound to it. And so there's like a lot of, I don't know, just dark subject matter on it. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people reached out to me like, are you okay? Like, is everything all right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, yeah, like everything's fine. It's just like, that's the texture of the album. And so that's what the subject matter follows the beats all the time. But the project with Michael was super fun to make. And we ended up, I think we wrote like 4 songs. We wanted to do like a 4-song EP. And then I was like, I'll fly out to North Carolina and we'll just like record together. And while we were there, I think we ended up writing like 3 different songs, and those 3 songs ended up on the EP, and the other songs that we originally wrote are just sitting in Google Drive collecting digital dust. Mm-hmm. But while I was in North Carolina, we were playing like his Michael's NES Classic, and we were playing Tecmo Bowl, and we're both super intoxicated, and Michael could not figure out how to pass the ball in Tecmo Bowl, and so I beat him like 100 and something to 0.
God, that's great. Oh man.
But yeah, those are the latest releases for me. I think I've done some guest verses on other people's stuff. More or less has a project that he did called Choose Your Own Adventure, and I'm on one of the tracks for that. Michael had an album that he put out, and I like did a verse for it like at the very last minute. So you can definitely find us on other stuff as well that aren't just our regular dual core albums.
Cool. Hey, there you go. Let's see. Favorite video game soundtrack? When someone asks you this question, what comes to mind? At least you can name a few, if not just one. You don't have to be held to just one.
Yeah, no doubt. Actually, sorry, I'm gonna backtrack real quick because I forgot to answer your second question about upcoming work.
Upcoming, yes.
Okay, so let's see. Michael and I are writing a new Troubleshooters album. It's pretty much mostly written at this point. I think we've got like maybe 8 songs written. And then I am working on some solo projects. and I've also got a new dual core album in the mix as well. And so I've got a bunch of beats from C64. I've got a handful of those songs written. I just had an artist come by the other day to record a guest verse for it, which I'm very excited for, but I won't name the artist yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I will announce, and I think I've only told Lex and Dale. No, I don't think I've told anybody publicly. I wrote a solo EP at the end of last year, and it is all based on Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Nice.
And it's produced entirely by Michael Kill, and it's going to be mixed by Cecil of AutoCorrect. And so once I get that mixed and mastered, then we'll put that out at some point. But it was super awesome to write, and Michael did like an amazing job with the beats as always. And so I had a blast writing that. So yeah, I've got a bunch of stuff coming out this year. I've got a solo EP that I'm working on. It's produced entirely by Dale Chase. So it's got a nice, like, chill, jazzy hip-hop sound to it. And then I've got another solo EP that I'm working on that's going to have a bunch of nerdcore producers on it. And yeah, again, the dual core album is in progress as well. So hopefully there will be a lot more rap music from me this year than in previous years.
Exclusive. There you go. So you guys heard it here. The man himself said it. So there you go. Look out for all that stuff because it's all good stuff. So
exclusive, pirate it wherever you pirate music from, or stream it, or whatever.
And go see them at shows and buy shit because that helps out the most. Mm-hmm. So there you go. Okay.
And then favorite video game soundtracks. Mm-hmm. The first two that came to mind were Ninja Gaiden or Ninja Gaiden. I never know how it's pronounced.
Gaiden.
And all right. And Contra. And actually, before we ever did dual core stuff, I wrote this like mixtape called Ninjas versus Marines, and it was like me rapping about Ninja Gaiden over beats that I'd made from Ninja Gaiden, and then me rapping about Contra over beats that I'd made from the Contra soundtrack.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Do you ever look back at some of your early stuff and you're like, I'm never going to show anyone that? Do you have that moment sometimes where you're like, oh god?
Why'd you bring that up?
Yeah. Yeah, why did you bring that up? That's a curious question.
Just because I've been in so many different bands and had so many different projects that I know that feel all too well.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, when I toured with Lex, we were like, oh yeah, like we'll bring our old music and we'll play it for each other in the car, right? So it's like in the safe space and David, we can play like all the awful, terrible things that we've made in the past. But then we never did. I played one song for her. She was like, this is really good actually, and I was like, oh, I know, like thanks, like it's not one that I'm like really embarrassed of. It's one of the better ones that I made before dual core stuff, but then I was like too embarrassed to play anything else. And
you're like, that's enough.
Like never played any of their stuff, and so we just kind of gentleman's agreement to omit any memories of our past lives.
There we go. It happens. That's just the thing as an artist. Everything is always. Sometimes, not everything, but there is a certain part of your timeline that you don't want to revisit. You rebooted that stuff, and now that's where you are now. So when it comes to music, so obviously you all are a producer-rapper tandem. Before you started working together, did you make your own beats and music before you guys worked together, or did you always kind of you were the rapper and then you went to other people for the beats?
Yeah, I always went to other producers. And that's one of the amazing things about C64, in addition to just his incredible ear for sound and his talent, is that he's super consistent and reliable. Like, I know that if I send him vocals, he's going to send me back a mix. And I know that he's going to make beats and send them to me. Mm-hmm. And before I met him, when I was doing a lot of freestyle battles in Cincinnati, we had like a Wednesday night that was like our hip-hop night at this little dive bar. And everybody in the hip-hop scene would come to it. And so as a result, I met a ton of producers in Cincinnati. I pretty much had access like to all the great producers in Cincinnati, but some of them were like unreliable. So like there was like one time where I was supposed to go to this guy's place on like a Tuesday. And so I like on Wednesday, I like text him and I'm like, hey, like, are we still on for Tuesday at 7:30? And he's like, yes. I'm like, cool. Like Saturday, I'm like, hey, like still on for Tuesday at 7:30? And he's like, yep. I'm like, cool. Monday, I'm like, I'll see you tomorrow, right? And he's like, yep, 7:30. Tuesday, I'm like, all right, like I'm heading over. And he's like, cool. And then I get there and he's like, not there. And I'm like calling him and texting him and like, no answer. He's just 404. And like that was like not an isolated incident. It happened with like a bunch of people.
God.
So like having to chase producers down and everything just to get beats or just to get mixes back or whatever is like such a headache. And it's all this overhead that I don't really want. Like I just want to make rap songs, right? And so that's like the consistency and like hard work and dedication from C64 is this like unspoken quality that nobody really knows about, and he's just like phenomenal for that.
And I'm sure that grew a, never dying much appreciation for having a steady producer, for sure. After all those stories. Jesus Christ. That's crazy.
Absolutely.
It wasn't even just one. Usually you would think, like, oh, that happened one time and everyone else. That's crazy that it's happened several. Oh, God, that's like a huge pet peeve of mine are fucking flakers. So it's like, hearing that just gives me fucking PTSD, but it's whatever. But like I know that fucking feel. Like it's not great. So it's always good to have people you can rely on that don't miss several episodes of the podcast. So we talked about video game soundtracks.
That was perfect.
So we talked about
showing discord amongst the team. This is amazing.
So we talked about video game soundtracks. Any other soundtrack that comes to mind that's a big love of yours or influence or otherwise as far as anime or movie or anything else?
Let's see. I always really liked the whole feel of Cowboy Bebop. I love Cowboy Bebop. Just had like an amazing feel to it.
Hell yeah, dude. That's a good choice.
Yeah. Not really soundtrack wise, but a huge movie influence for me was the movie Style Wars. And it's a documentary about graffiti from like 1982, but it's amazing. It just has that like that underground hip hop feel that like I grew up with, and so I love that movie. It's my favorite hip hop film.
Nice. Well, I need to check that out. It sounds like it's got a cool vibe to it. So yeah, look into that. And then
it was on Netflix for a while, but I don't know if it's still there or not. But
the curse of
like
Netflix.
Everything on the internet, it's findable.
Exactly. Yeah. But the fucking curse of Netflix and streaming services, we're going to talk about streaming games later in the news, but like that's the curse of it. They've got the control. If Netflix wants to say fuck off with you, like Peep Show, one of our favorite shows, is not on Netflix anymore, and that's where we first got to check it out. It's gone, so fuck it. But it might be there still.
It's on Vudu.
It's on Vudu? Okay, well, check it out on Vudu, if anything, I guess. But that's not my first 8 choices of streaming services. But that works. No, Vudu's fine. Just not in my top. But anyways, and then finally, to close out the interview segment, the story behind y'all's stage names / dual core. How did everything come to be name-wise?
Yeah, sure. So mine is not as cool as C64 is, so I'll start with his, and then you can like fast forward 2 more minutes or something. So C64, his first video game console was a Commodore 64, and his first name is Chris, which starts with a C, and he is 6 foot 4 inches tall. So he's got like all the double entendres.
That works. That's cool.
So the stars just literally aligned.
Yeah.
Cool. What the actual fuck?
That's cool.
And then int 80 is it's an assembly instruction that in Linux hands off control from userland, where your like regular user programs run, like your web browser or whatever, into the kernel, like for the underlying OS to like process. And so when I started hacking and like writing exploits and stuff, I would you write what's called shellcode, and that's your payload that executes inside of the context of another program that you're exploiting. And so in my shellcode, I would always see this like interrupt 80 command. And so I was like, oh, that's a cool handle, and int80.com was available, so I like registered the domain, and that was what I picked for my handle, which then also became my rap name. And then dual core is because a dual core processor has 2 separate cores that operate independently, but they essentially work together to make everything work on the system. And so I felt that was pretty representative for the group. Like there's 2 of us, we're on different continents, but we work together despite independently to make everything work. And also I had a big grudge against Intel at the time, and I wanted to beat them on SEO. And so now if you go to google.com and you type in dual core, hopefully we're the first thing that shows up.
There you go.
like
John's about to test that, but while he does that, no, that's really cool. I just love it when things do work out like that. Like, not to toot my own fucking arrogant ass horn, but like, that's why I was really happy with like when I named the podcast in general, is just because although ironically now I've become closer to video games because of it, it originally started because I was much more intrigued with video game news and keeping up with the politics and bullshit than I was with actually, playing video games. So at that point, I was like, disconnected. Like these, us two, well, at the time it was me and John, only. I was gonna say that like us two fucks who are like totally out of the loop in terms of playing them know everything there is to know about them when it comes to the game. So that's why. Now you guys got the origin story. No one fucking asked for it, but whatever. Now you guys got the origin story. Disconnected. Now you guys know why the fuck it's called that. So there's that.
Just like in Star Wars.
And now we
Nobody
can
asked for
prepare
the
for
origin story.
disconnected Shippuden.
There you go. So speaking of plot holes, so the thing I found out about Star Wars, remember when we went to go see it and I talked about the whole beginning scroll being in Fortnite?
Yeah.
I finally found out what people meant when they said that. Does anyone know why people were saying that?
I don't.
So you know how there were a lot of plot holes in fucking Rise of the Skywalker?
Mm-hmm.
They actually fucking addressed one of the major events that led to the things in there in Fortnite in a special event is what happened.
Gross.
That's why people were saying that. And then the rest of it, the whole thing about the Emperor being a clone and shit, that was like on some offshoot fucking like almost semi-unofficial fanfic thing that Disney put out a long time ago. So like, yeah.
Wait, what?
The Emperor's a clone. That's why he's alive.
Oh,
I have been seeing a
But
lot
like,
of things...
that was already talked about apparently and something that no one knew about.
Yeah, I have been seeing a lot of things on Twitter where I guess it's like shit like Screen Rant or something where they're like, actually, such and such, like in a story, like they're trying to fill in because apparently, the story can't tell a story on its own merit. So you have to add all these addendums through internet articles.
Right.
And
it's like the fucking Grimoire and Destiny
oh man,
stuff.
yeah, it's like, let the internet write the lore for Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, but the fact that part of the the fucking start of the fucking scroll is actually in Fortnite is crazy to think that Fortnite actually had more of an integral part of the story than the rest of the movie. Which is fucking crazy.
This just makes me even more angry.
Right? And John and John did test when you do type in dual core, it actually is the first thing that is a suggestion is y'all. So
yep, you beat Intel.
You guys beat Intel. Take that, Intel. But if you guys want to if you guys want to sponsor us, go for it. Yeah, so let's see what else. What else was I trying to keep up with? I was kind of going to like backlog news that I was trying to like, addendum. Speaking of addendums,
Yes.
So one thing that made me laugh too is when I heard about when there were like all those like earthquakes or some shit in Japan, like in the like a few years ago or whatever. There was always something crazy going on in Japan, fucking kaijus and whatnot. But like when they were like kaijus. When there was fucking like earthquakes or whatever, and then fucking Kojima marked himself as okay. Like all these other studios, like Capcom was like, yo, we're okay. Like, Konami was like, we're okay. And Kojima just straight up, I'm okay. It's just like, yeah, you're right. That's what matters. And it's true. Because it is Kojima. But I just thought that show was so funny. So many people laugh.
Japan's Golden Goose.
Yeah, good Japan's Golden Goose. That's what it is. So Death Stranding obviously met with mixed reception in the West. In Japan, it did pretty good. But here it was like, if everyone loved it, hated it, didn't get it, got it. You know what I mean? I was on the side of somehow got it, even though it is a bunch of nonsense. He has expressed interest in wanting to make a movie. I think that whoever invests in that, not just will they lose a lot of money, but they will make one of my most favorite films of all time. Because it is going to be the stupidest 4 hours like of bullshit ever. Because Lord knows it's going to be a long movie probably. It's going to be dumb as fuck. Like, it's going to be...
Is it going to be like the next Avatar?
Basically, except I'll give a shit about
Tarantino should do it then.
No.
No.
Fuck no.
No, I don't want to see, like, there'll probably be, like, a Kojima feet scene if Tarantino does it, but that's not what I'm trying to, like, do. But, yeah, anyway, so that shit was funny. And then, finally, something I didn't know is that, apparently, Gak did a commercial when Metal Gear Solid 2 first came out in Japan.
Ooh.
And the reason that Kojima chose him, I can't remember the acronym now, but it was because GAC... something T was like something, whatever. But the K was for Konami.
Nice.
And Kojima.
Nice.
That's why he chose Gak. The stupidest fucking reason is why
I mean-
he made a bullshit acronym up and then his name's in it. So there, he just made himself a part of it. So yeah, there was that. I didn't know there was a Gacked MGS2 commercial, but apparently
I'm gonna have to look that
there
up.
was.
man.
Yeah, basically. Before we get into
I
the
hope he
news,
doesn't dance in it.
oh man, oh god, that shit is so funny. I'll use my mom as an example. I like to troll her because like what I'll do is like we'll be watching stuff and like K-pop boy groups are known for their like really fucking crazy ass difficult choreography, and sometimes when she's watching some of her favorite groups do that, I'll say, "You think that's real choreography? Check this shit out." And I'll throw Gack dancing like an asshole, like really shittily, and then that'll be it. So there's that. But
Yeah.
before we get into the news,
I
let's
just-
go ahead and
Real quick, I would say
Oh,
any
go ahead.
listeners who know who we're
Oh, yeah,
talking
who we're
about,
talking about, yeah.
give yourself a cookie, I guess.
yeah, exactly. And if you don't know, search Gacked and Bujingai, and also separately, and do that.
And vanilla.
And Vanilla, do that.
Live.
And where if you want to know where Squall's origins came from, watch Miserable. Because obviously,
Oh no, I thought it was Illuminati.
It was Illuminati?
Mindless Miserable is Alucard from Symphony of the Night.
Oh right. What a bunch of stupid shit. Okay, so let's get into the plugs. Mr. John, where can everybody find you on the
I
internet?
know what you're talking about, dude. I'm lost. Fuck, what was the question?
Where can everybody find you on the internet, Mr. John?
Let's see. We can go to _ Evil Dead Guy at Instagram and at Evil Dead Guy on Twitter.
There you go, Mr. Josh.
Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Joshiro Joestar. YouTube, ShiroPlay5.
Mallory.
You guys can find me on Instagram at awesome_Mally. That's about it.
There you go. And you can find me at disconnectedcast.com, slimasianentertainment.com, and at ZDRocker at all the places. And Mr. 80, where can everybody find all the awesome dual core stuffs?
We are at ZN5WFP4033YRVRAZKUFMAEEE.onion. That's for people with Tor browsers. No, I'm just kidding.
I hope someone's typing that right now.
I know, right?
Yeah. It's actually our Hangouts URI. I was like, I can't come up with random characters in a string like that. We're dual core music everything. Dualcoremusic.com, at dual core music on Twitter, Facebook /dual core music, YouTube /dual core music, Pirate Bay, dual core music, whatever.
There you go. There you go. Do it. Get all their stuff. Go see them. Buy a shirt, buy CDs, buy all the things, say one of everything, whatever the case may be, and definitely support them. Let's get in.
Come to Flamingo Cantina on Saturday night if you're near Austin.
Oh, yeah. Do that, because we'll probably be there too. So, there you go.
Awesome.
Dope. Come say hi, introduce yourselves, because I'm really bad at putting names to faces.
Yeah, no problem.
Cool.
We'll do the same thing. We awkwardly stood in front of Shubs for a second before we reiterated who we were, so not a problem.
We're just like, hey.
She was just like, these who are the, but they were really cool though.
Yeah.
Bill and her were amazing once they find out who the fuck we were. I know she's very much a family homegrown person, so like, I knew that once we finally got in there, she was, they were super sweet, so it was nice hanging out with them, so yeah. Right. So, I found out something interesting. Pat from Castle Super Beast was talking about it, and they kind of brought up Ray, Shadow Legends, Ray, and they were joking about that bullshit, right? Because everybody is just like the most shameless nonsense plug. At us, Raid, we'll get in on there. And here's the reason why. So, a lot of people were like, you have Dollar Shave Club, you have Audible, you have Grubhub, the shit that you expect to hear. When you hear podcast, you hear the same fucking ads of people who don't use any of this shit, which will gladly sponsor any of you. Or if you sponsor us, we'll be good. Anyways, so the reason, though, that Raid Legends...
Just a crumb.
Mobile games has always been an anomaly, and Wooly made a really good point from Castle Super Beast that how do they get away with just lying? You guys have seen every mobile game ad, and if you were to ever try any of those mobile games, it's bullshit. I saw a really weird one, and I don't know if it's because Facebook is racist or if something else, but they targeted me some weird Chinese game because, obviously I'm Filipino, so Chinese, right?
Clearly.
So they went ahead and aimed that at me, and it was this weird thing where it was just like, oh, I need a whatever wife, level up, and it's just this wife that's like being really like submissive, and then he like hits her, and then she levels up because he hits her, and then she becomes level 42 wife, and I'm just like, what the fuck does Facebook think about me? And then second of all, what the fuck is this? Because I bet you if I click that link and download the game, I'll get A, a virus, and then B, a game that's nothing like this. They're usually RTS nonsense or some Kingdom pay-to-win bullshit, but like, what the fuck, right? I saw this other one, it's like, oh, zombie shooter, whatever. I bet you it doesn't look like that. There's no fucking way it looks like that.
Yeah.
So, point being, is that Raid Shadow Legends looks nothing like that at all, right? The actual game looks like dog shit and plays like dog shit, right?
Please
Unless,
sponsor
of
us.
course, Raid, you hear this, in which case, everyone make sure to check them out. No, but apparently the reason everybody just shamelessly does, including really high-profile people, I believe, like, fucking, I think ProZD's done it, and, like, some other people have, like, plugged them, is because
Cinemassacre. Yeah.
a Cinemassacre has, but allegedly, according to Pat, with a source that he could not tell because they would lose their sponsorship because they're under hard non-disclosure, they apparently pay fucking dollars. Like, they fucking pay, like, they put everybody else to shame of how much they fucking pay the fuck out. It's kind of why a few people have come honest about why they, if anything, because I know a few people who used to be partnered with Twitch that hopped to Facebook. Apparently Facebook slaps the fuck out of all the other streaming things when if you're an exclusive gamer to Facebook, they pay you fucking mad money. So that is why even some of the high profile people will plug Raid even though they know it's horseshit, is because apparently Raid pays them a lot. Like, that's why. And apparently it's an insane figure. Like, he said he couldn't say because he didn't want to get the person in trouble just in case that's exclusive to them, that figure.
Yeah.
But from what they're getting paid, he said, yeah, fucking come sponsor me, I don't give a fuck. Which is why you guys should make sure to check out Raid Shadow Legends in the Play Store or iOS and check it out now. Guys should totally... No, don't do that. We didn't get paid yet. Because then maybe we will.
Yet.
The coronavirus is in the headline again. First of all, a lot of people were surprised that the show I went to didn't get canceled because a lot of shows got canceled. So a lot of people were really surprised that our show didn't. But
there was a tournament for Mortal Kombat that was canceled, and many people got upset.
yeah, we should probably talk about that too. You go ahead.
We could, but I don't know too much about it. I would recommend checking out Shujinki Dink.
There you go.
He was previously on our podcast, SHUJINKYDINK. That's Shujinki Dink. He did do a video where he kind of talks about it a bit. So, yeah, I would recommend that rather than me talk about it because I really didn't follow up too much. Just that they canceled it very, very short term.
Like the day before?
Yeah, something like that. Like, people were already getting ready to travel, and then like, nope.
Yeah, when we were going to the show, we made a joke that we were going to get to the venue, and there's just a small Post-it note on there that says canceled.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Low-key, that'd be kind of funny, though.
That would have been kind of funny, and also a waste of 4 hours, but yeah. And, like, a lot of money. I almost said how much, but there's that. Right, but the reason I brought up coronavirus is because the timeline from the film Akira is apparently coming true because in Akira in 2019, Japan is supposed to host the Olympics and it gets super fucking canceled because, and now the headline in Akira is 147 days until the games, and then someone writes there like cancel it or some bullshit in graffiti. Basically, the coronavirus kind of comes really close to 147 days before the Olympics being hosted by Japan. So Akira did it. So, Simpsons did it, but Akira this time called it.
No, apparently Simpsons also predicted
called it. Oh,
so,
wow.
So Simpsons and Akira predicted it. Nostradamus, what the fuck?
Yeah, come on, bro.
There's a Tom Clancy book, too, apparently. I saw someone post, like, pictures of the excerpts from the book that are actually discussing how this big virus comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. That's a little weird sometimes when stuff is that close. Yeah. Like, it's weird. Simpsons does it so much, it's really uncanny.
It's super creepy.
But I mean,
I'm super
Matt Groening is from the future, so...
Yeah.
Futurama is his life story.
Right? That'd be interesting if it was. That's not news, though. But, yeah. What were we going to say? I'm assuming everyone here's seen Akira at least once?
Mm-hmm. I actually have not watched it yet. No.
What?
I'm really surprised. You're like the biggest...
You're fired.
I know.
Yeah, you're like the biggest weeb in this room.
I have it in my computer.
I mean, I've seen it.
I'm not going to talk about how I got it.
He got it along with our guest, Dual Core's Music, on Pirate Bay. No.
It came with this Chinese game that I installed. I don't know.
I borrowed the disc, and it has forever been sitting in the drive for many years.
We gotta turn this into an event then.
I know.
I got some fucking soju. You got some Japanese whiskey. Let's fucking get at it. Like,
is that the one with the red motorcycle and the little blue people?
The very
one with
iconic poster.
The iconic scene also with the motorcycle slide that everyone has copied. Like
that poster is so iconic.
Yeah.
Naruto would not exist without that poster because that was the poster that inspired Masashi Kishimoto to keep drawing.
Fucking facts.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Weren't they supposed to do like a live action remake of Akira with like Leonardo DiCaprio or something?
Apparently, that's just in development hell and has not officially been canceled. So apparently, I know. God. Just shuddering at that. It's one of those things where I wonder now. So, do you all remember the whole Cowboy Bebop live action Keanu thing?
Yeah.
And then now it became this other thing.
John Cho, I think.
John Cho. And then the weird thing about the show is Ayn is not even a fucking corgi, apparently.
That makes me the most mad.
Yeah, that's horrible casting.
Yeah. That's really bad. Like, how did you actually fuck that up that bad? Like
you know how many people got corgis because of that fucking anime?
Yeah,
exactly.
Plus corgis are cute as fuck.
Corgis
but
are dope. Yeah.
Like, anytime you see a weeb with a corgi, you know why they have it.
Exactly, that's true. Yeah, when you smell that person coming down the road, you know why they have a fucking corgi.
We're outside too.
Bass and saxophones
so was there an actual live action Cowboy Bebop?
Not yet, but there is one coming out on Netflix.
Yeah, it's
Oh
starring
shit.
John Cho.
They better not fuck up Radical Edward. I swear to God.
Oh,
it's in the cards to be fucked up already because they already fucked up Ayn. So
it's not a good thing.
My table is upside down right now.
Right? I know. No kidding, man. Like, leave some stuff the fuck alone, okay? Like, oh my god. Like, I don't know why there's this urge to just fuck everything up. But that's Hollywood for you. But yeah. Riot. Anti-feminist company that makes League of Legends. Revealed the title of their upcoming game. Now they have, we talked about before how they have several games coming up. They're trying to expand the League of Legends universe because not everyone wants to play a toxic MOBA with a bunch of neckbeards. Yeah. So they're expanding their repertoire, and they have announced the name of their shooter. It's going to be called Valorant, which I sent some first impressions gameplay came out. I think it was by IGN or where the fuck I sent the clip from. Mm-hmm. It looks like CS:GO meets Overwatch, but hopefully minus the shitty fan base. But it looks really interesting because at this point, with a lot of the cookie cutter shooters, it's nice to see something kind of take two genres that seem like they shouldn't be together and try at least.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's going to be good. It looks like it could be a little confusing because it's basically like CS:GO with Overwatch powers, which is weird.
So yeah, when I saw the video, my first thought was Steve Bloom.
Of course.
That's literally the first thing I hear. Is like, oh god, it's Steve Bloom. And then two, I was like, this is anime CS:GO.
It is anime CS:GO.
With like really weird effects or textures. I hope that gets fixed because there was a fuck ton of green.
It's like pre-alpha, so I'll forgive that.
Yeah,
it's not like
so much shit
the Predator game, which is about to come out, looks like dog shit.
Ooh. Yeah, Steve Bloom. Anyways.
Right, so they're going with it's basically going to be a champion-based 5v5 tactical MOBA shooter, because I think there might be points, but then there's also a elimination system. I'm sure there'll be multiple game modes too. Very vague, but from what they did show, it's again does look rough, but again, to be fair, pre-alpha, it's very soon. However, maybe not, because maybe it's not too far out, because and hopefully it looks better because it's supposed to come out summer 2020. So we're not that for anyone who knows anything about video game development, we are kind of too close to look that rough, unless of course Riot pulls magic, and that's a really early build.
It's early access.
Well, what I'm thinking, though, is that also could just be a really old build that they're throwing out as a red herring, and perhaps the actual build is a lot further along. Yeah, but if that isn't the case, it does look really rough now that you mention it for something that's coming out in a few months. Mr. 80, have you had much experience with League or basically, I guess, just League, because that's the only game they have out right now? Any experience with that?
No, I've never played it, but I did watch one of the championship matches or whatever with my girlfriend, and it looked like super dope. I mean, the production value was amazing on the event, but I've never played it.
And I'm glad you mentioned production, because that is actually where Riot is putting a lot of focus on it, and they even mentioned it in their press about the game. Riot is known for a lot of bad things, but the good things that they're known for is that they have some of the most immaculate netcoding, where ArcSys and fucking Capcom just can't get their shit together. Now, granted, it's a different type of game, I know, but they are known for fucking amazing netcode. And they have said that their goal is to bring that kind of shooter arena unique competitive thing with good netcode and anti-cheat that won't fuck your game up entirely. Not like the Diablo refucked, where they added that anti-cheat that just runs and the resources go crazy in the game and it fucks up everything. Not like that. They're good at it. So if anything, they will have great online play. We'll just see if it's actually good. I'm personally excited for these mediums. I think the other one's a TV show and a fighting game and then something else. The reason I am excited about this, though, is I do like some. There's like a few hundred, so I don't even know all of them anymore. Yeah. But there are some really cool champs like Ari or Jinx and stuff like that I don't think they're going to be in this game. But I would like to see them appear in other games because I really don't give a fuck to play League of Legends the last time with friends because it's a cool game in a closed environment.
Yeah.
But playing with randos or whatever is a fucking nightmare.
I need my league safe space.
Exactly. But if this game does end up being good, or maybe their fighting game might end up being good, I'm kind of cool with and open to trying that. The good thing is, it seems like they are going to try to keep their free-to-play model, so they will have a rotating roster of champions. The game will launch with exactly 10 characters, so 5v5, you're assuming lock, you're about to lock out the whole roster, basically. But we'll see. Come summer 2020, how that goes.
Imagine if it's like League of Legends, where you're just running gunning people, and then I better go to the shop and get some.
They have actually said because CS:GO does that, and they have said that is actually going to be one of the mechanics. So it'll be interesting to see. Again, CS:GO does it already, so.
The anti-cheat is a deal breaker.
Yeah.
If I can't cheat, I'm not playing.
There you go. If you can't be fucking rubber banding like crazy and flying all over the place like PUBG. My friend and I were talking about PUBG the other day, how like on PC, it is the most broken shit. Like it is unplayable on there. There are so many fucking Chinese cheaters and like all this like crazy like people just pulling bullshit. Like running one way and still headshotting you from behind. Like just really fucked up stuff. Like you can look up compilations of just cheaters on there. It is wild. Wow. And it's out of control. Apparently the console versions are a little bit better, but are they? Shooters on consoles? Anyways, tell Ninja about that.
A friend gave a talk about why PC gaming was superior to console gaming, and the theorem behind the talk was that you can't cheat on console gaming as easily as you can on PC gaming.
Wow. That's pretty
It was like TF2 days, and like one of the things that he would do is like he would change all the sound clips in the game. Yeah. So like in TF2, like you had the spy, right? And so he was like getting stabbed in the back by spies all the time. So he'd be like, he's got this clip of him running around as a pyro. And when the spy like unmaxed behind him, instead of playing the like, you know, mysterious, ominous, quiet sound, it goes like, I'm the scat man! And it turns around and lights everything on fire with the pyro.
See, so the pluses and minuses and the beauty of PC gaming. There's that. Let's see, what else? Speaking of PC gaming, Valve put out a thing. I'm going to link it below. It's like really not much to talk about. It's better to like read and watch, which is how you're going to move in Half-Life Alyx. So with that, you're going to have a gravity glove, which basically functions like the gravity gun in Portal. Some shit like that. You guys will see. There's not much to talk about in terms of like, what do we have to talk about the fucking mechanic? Just fucking watch the thing or read the thing, whatever the fuck. It'll be linked below. But also speaking about Half-Life Alyx, they are doing a collab with Death Stranding, which is a thing because Death Stranding is going to be coming to PC finally. So there's that. And they're doing a collab thing. What is the collab? They haven't said. So there's...
With Death Stranding, don't they have little head crab?
TBA. Well, yeah, that's in the shitty teaser. That has nothing to do with... It's not in the game at all.
Oh, I thought that was like... You get,
wow, John, this is why you're not in charge of curating the news.
No, God.
The collab is Half-Life 3 release.
Oh, God.
I wish.
They might as well. I wish that was it instead. I know some people are still really tilted about the whole not being a proper sequel. We'll see. I know one thing that people said would be a definite deal breaker is if it's short. If it's like some fucking 1 hour VR experience, everyone's going to fucking lose their minds.
Ground Zeroes?
Yeah.
I mean, well, that's kind of the problem. I don't imagine a VR game wanting to go on that long. You know, 'cause I don't, at least I personally don't see myself playing like, let's say like an 80-hour narrative or something like that on VR. I would probably be like, kind of want to do my thing and get some, but then, you know, motion sickness and stuff like that to consider. So.
That's a very big thing too, yeah.
Yeah. So.
For the PC port of Death Stranding, the things they have confirmed that are coming to it is photo mode, which seems to be a big request for a lot of people in video games now. Final Fantasy 15 has it. Fucking a lot of games. Last of Us.
Yeah,
Kingdom
Last of
Hearts
Us has
3
it.
has it.
Horizon has
I'm
it.
sorry.
Kingdom Hearts 3.
A lot of again.
Yeah.
Point.
Ooh.
Spider-Man has it. Point being is that's like that's become a common feature that at first no one asked for, but like now so many people use it for memes and whatever.
It's pretty. Horizon's going to PC too.
Yes, Horizon's coming to
I just
PC as
want
well.
to take selfies in my video games like I do in the real lives.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, they also, of course, mentioned a better frame rate, support for wide monitor, blah, 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 blah. Stuff that you just expect to be standard on PC, because everyone's a fucking nerd. Overwatch, finally, having a ban list, because so far all characters have been legal. They have always talked about the potential of retiring characters, like some games that have a big roster. They have also talked about the potential of banning characters that just don't fit into the meta. Doesn't mean they can't come back, but at the right time, they are not good enough or too OP or otherwise to be in there. They are still playable, of course, in your quick plays and your bullshit modes, but in comp play and pro tournaments, the following 4 characters are banned, which are Orisa. I don't know why I don't play enough Orisa to know. Hanzo, because that character fucking blows. Mei, because that character fucking blows. And Baptiste, I don't know why, because I don't play Baptiste. But those are the 4 characters that are currently, you can't play those.
It's rotating. That's only for week 4. I think up in week 5 it's going to be Ryan. Who is it? McCree, Ryan, and my girl, the healer. I haven't played Overwatch in forever. The redhead.
Oh,
Moira.
Yeah, Moira.
Thank you. Yeah, my favorite fucking character. I can't remember her name. Yeah, I saw that. Not too happy with that.
Your favorite character.
I don't play Overwatch.
Wow, you
anymore.
really like her a lot.
Very much
let's see. 80, did you play much Overwatch when that was the hotness?
No, I've never played Overwatch either.
So this doesn't affect you. Lucky man. Doesn't affect me either because fuck Blizzard for hating Hong Kong. So there's that. Blizzard created the coronavirus, confirmed. Some dude beat Breath of the Wild without walking, but then I saw the video and it's the stupidest fucking thing ever. The Nintendo PlayStation, the prototype that almost was which was almost the first disc Nintendo console that ended up becoming its own thing, the PlayStation, sold finally. Now, it sold for $360,000 to the former owner of Pets.com.
Okay.
And more people voted for that guy in the primaries than voted for Bloomberg.
Oh man, that's
More
great!
than 10 times as much money.
Holy fuck, that's hilarious. He outbid. That's real news. Everyone listen to that.
Okay.
He outbid people like the former Oculus founder, something Palmer. I can't read my own handwriting.
Ray Palmer.
Now, one thing that people,
Leland
or
Palmer?
when I say people, I'm talking about they're good old friends that we've never met. Well, we met them once, but never really friends with them. But we would be, hopefully. Castle Super Beast talked about it, how it seems weird that something like that is going into someone's personal collection when it should be in a fucking gaming museum or a museum proper.
Smithsonian, maybe?
I was just going to say, but it looks like we're already making the agreeing
So we're
faces.
gonna
Well, I
have
can't
like-
see 80, so I can ask him. What's your take on that? Do you feel like this is something that's like fine in some dude's shelf that he might forget about in his house, or do you think that a piece of history like this is something that probably should be in a museum? Oh. Uh-oh.
I don't know. Did we get disconnected?
Is he... Our podcast is called Disconnected, but that wasn't supposed to happen. Oh, no, it says he's still there. Oh, there he
Oh,
is.
there you go.
Psych.
Okay, so, do you think something like the Nintendo PlayStation is something that deserves to be in a museum, or is it like chill in someone's personal collection?
Are you asking me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. That's where the awkwardness happened.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I guess if, the person spent money on it, that's their thing, and they can do whatever they want with it. So,
There you go.
I don't know.
I guess.
Yeah.
To rephrase the question, the people, because I believe it's owned by like some society thing now. Like it is like some like. It's basically in a historical setting ownership that's now being auctioned off to that. I guess should it have remained? Before giving anyone the option to buy it, do you think it is the type of item that does deserve to be in a more historical setup, or it doesn't really matter either way? Oh shit! That was promising.
I think it is a cool piece of nostalgia, but like, what value does it offer being in a museum?
Fair enough.
No, very true.
There you go. Okay, what the fuck was the next thing?
What the fuck is going
Oh shit, are we already at... Oh!
And then the gamer Indiana Jones will come into fruition and steal it. Be like,
Yeah.
it belongs in a museum.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
All right, so,
That's good.
yes. Okay, fine. It should be in a museum. or
Then,
or at least some very well booby-trapped temple or something.
there
Yes.
you go. And then, the dude from Pets.com can try to steal it.
Jeez.
Yes.
Instead of
Or
buying
become like some horrendous pharma bro and, sell it for $2 million
Oh, man,
or whatever.
Yeah, that reference.
Wu-Tang? Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, can Martin Short Kelly it?
Jeez.
Oh, I forgot to put this in the touching base again on the previous news articles, but a couple of things. We talked about Project GG last time, the latest Platinum Games and the first independent Platinum Games offering coming up that Kamiya had put lovingly as the last of the Hero Trilogy. It was confirmed in an interview from him what that meant. It meant Beautiful Joe. John got it on that.
Bam.
Wonder Red, which I had a feeling it might be, and then this new guy, which was very much influenced by Ultraman. So they said that when they were working on it, I mean, it was Ultraman basically.
Yeah.
So that's going to be very interesting to see, and so that's what he means by the end of the Hero Trilogy. He also talked about how he still wants to do Scalebound, and
Gosh.
he talked about something I thought was very cool. Is he said that one of the other games he'd like to make is Bayonetta versus Dante, Devil May Cry Bayonetta crossover game.
That'd be pretty sick.
Team Dante.
There's a lot of ideas on what that could go to, but he did say bother Capcom and tell them to call him so that way they could work on this shit. But that is one of the games that he would like to get the ball rolling on, though. He said that obviously Bayonetta came out of not being able to work on DMC anymore, and because of that, he would love for them to finally have this whole thing. There's a lot of things where people are like, should they cross over? Like, one of Pat's ideas is like they... Bayonetta is fighting the mobs from DMC, Dante's fighting the angels from Bayonetta, and then in the end they fight each other. Or Wooly thought of the side of maybe cooperative, like they kind of like meet each other in this weird parallel universe thing, and they try to, there's a lot of ideas out there. Their ideas I thought were pretty interesting on how that could go because they're big marks of both games. But it was interesting to see Kamiya just so openly be like, yo, I want to do this shit.
Yeah.
Like Bayonetta, DMC, let's go.
It'd be dope as fuck.
So that would be cool, but if they really are working on Okami 2, which has been teased, who knows? It could be possible. It could be them working with Capcom again. The only real funny thing about that, as I always talk about, is they're like the redheaded stepchild of Capcom that Capcom kicked out of the house.
Yeah.
And now that they're as big as, in terms of they're just this huge entity now of known quality game designers, Capcom's kind of like, hey guys, what's up? You guys are pretty cool. So, I mean, I don't know why I turned him into that guy, but, yeah, there's that. Mr. 80, much experience with, so when Platinum was under Capcom as Clover Studios, they worked on stuff like Resident Evil 2, Okami, Beautiful Joe, Devil May Cry 1 and 2, and I think 3. Any experience with those games?
No, not really, but I think was Beautiful Joe the first cell shading game?
If not, the first one, pretty early on. It's really that became very stylish afterwards, like in Killer 7 and all that other
pretty
stuff.
sure that's pretty.
Yeah, I really remember digging the look of it. Like I remember seeing it in a Walmart demo display or something like that.
Yeah,
It
very
pretty dope.
aesthetic.
But yeah, that's about the extent for me. Sorry.
No, you're good. No, you're good. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if any of those come to fruition. That was just from an interview with Kamiya. And the fact that he still really wants Scalebound to come out, because he said he was really hyped and proud of that project. So the fact that it just got fucking the kibosh put on it sucks.
Salty.
He's just got this crazy baby that was ready to go and just
Super salty.
2K Games, talking about pulling the kibosh. 2K Games pulling out of Nvidia's streaming thing, GeForce Now. We talked about the other two that pulled out. And why this is a problem with game streaming. And to follow up with that, developers openly expressing their lack of faith in Stadia. So a lot of developers who have either promised stuff to Stadia or otherwise are kind of having second thoughts or kind of wondering what the fuck, because as we mentioned before, the biggest issue with Stadia, other than it being a flaming pile of shit that came out way too fucking early, is the fact that there's been no news. Google is just pretending it doesn't fucking exist. They're busy putting out the next Pixel phone. They're busy, still trying to slowly roll out Google Fiber, fucking all these places they promised that should have been done years ago. And it's just fucking Google, notorious for their huge graveyard of discarded products, including Google Glass and stuff like that. So that's where the main concern comes. That's where first fans were losing their faith. Now developers are losing their faith. And a lot of people in the industry are honestly going along with our prediction that it's probably not even going to maybe see a year.
Yeah.
Because Google's basically just trying to figure out how to pull out without fucking having 1 trillion class action lawsuits thrown upon them. Because they half-assed this product, literally lied about it, and all the shit it could do, and now don't want to fix it.
Oh, here you go. There's a 3-month Stadia Pro trial when you purchase Chromecast Ultra.
So
Cool.
bullshit.
Right.
So dog shit. So this is why the streaming future that everyone thinks we have is horseshit, and that's why it's really kind of funny how Phil Spencer from fucking Microsoft did that bullshit thing where he was like, the PlayStation is no longer our adversary. Our adversary are Amazon and fucking whatever's like cloud-based gaming. Fuck you. Okay? Nobody has like we're not in that. Most people's potato ass internet won't work, and we already talked about it before. What's his name? Mr. Park, Washington Post posted that thing where they have like they're in the fucking Silicon Valley of the East, and they fucking have the east side of the U.S., not the east side of the world, just because he's Asian. He showed how even with like pretty much perfect internet, he was playing like Destiny streaming fine, like seconds of lag. Like we'd hit the keyboard, look at the camera, then the guy would jump. Yeah. Like in a game like that, where most of the games on Stadia that launched were, first of all, old games, but otherwise fighting and shooters, which should have the least amount of fucking latency if you're gonna fucking play them properly.
Yeah.
It's absurd. They had this like insane goal. Then the Chromecast started fucking overheating. Then they didn't want to address that. They started to say that was an isolated incident and all this bullshit. And now they just won't say anything, which is almost a blessing if it wasn't for all the people sitting there at the edge of their seats of like, what are you going to do about this? We invested in you.
Yeah.
Now one could say that's what they get for being foolish, but at the same time, is someone's pipe dream? Yes, it can be bullshit sometimes, someone's pipe dream, but still, that's really fucked up for like the 10 people that believed in them to just stomp them like that. Like that's so fucked up. Google, like fucking tell them something, man.
Seriously.
Even if it's we're fucking pulling this shit in 6 months, just fucking tell them something.
Give
Like
my money back.
Like just. You know, you canceled all the people's orders by accident at the beginning. You might as well fucking cancel the rest of them.
Seriously.
That shit was hilarious. Getting your fucking link. Click here to confirm that you still want your Stadia. Canceled. When you fucking click the link, that's fucking hilarious.
Man.
That was a fucking trash fire of a launch.
I'm not ready for this.
But there's that. Okie dokie. Final topic's a bit of a lighthearted one. We're not going to talk about Randy Pitchford assaulting people or anything like that. But what we are going to talk about is Last of Us is apparently going to become in talks, or is in talks to become a HBO TV show.
Yeah.
Jamie fucking Lannister.
I'm personally fine with the game just being one thing. I don't even want Last of Us 2. Look out for John and my thing. We're going to kind of debate that a bit. But, you know, whatever. Make it a franchise. Fuck it. Witcher showed that it can do good, so I guess. Now, with that being the case then, what is, and we're going to go one at a time, what is a form of media or your favorite franchise or something that you would love to see adapted that you think in the right hands? So we're living in a perfect world here. This is our fantasy. What would you like to see a game turned into a movie or TV show? What's, again, in the right hands, what adaptation would you like to see? Go ahead first, John.
Oh, that was not the question I thought you were going to ask. Halo. 100%.
So Halo done well.
I like Pablo Schreiber. I think he's a good actor as Matt Sweeney.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm interested to see how he's going to play as the Chief, just because Chief has that enigmatic kind of, you don't know what he looks like really, and he's kind of based around Steve Downes' voice, and that's basically what the whole character is based on. And I kind of hope that they do overdub him with Steve Downes' voice, or at least present him as a younger kind of person. But, yeah, that's it. Let's hope they do a good job. I'd like to see a good Pokemon IRL.
There you go. Oh, wait, what?
Like Detective Pikachu?
Detective Pikachu was good.
Yeah, so don't say that then. I thought you were going to throw shade at Detective Pikachu. I was about to stop you.
like-
No, I like Detective Pikachu.
Okay, good. To be
Like,
clear, Detective Pikachu is awesome. I don't know what the fuck John's talking about. I guess he means more of a closer to the Pokemon
like the
battles.
series, like the
Yeah.
anime. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Like how the games are done.
Mr. Josh, what would you like to see adapted in the right hands?
I know ever since I was a kid, I really wish they would have done something with Chrono Trigger. I know there's like a weird, I think they once made a weird OVA, but if I recall correctly, because I never watched it, but from what I read, it has very little to do with the actual story.
Very like one of the almost like a spin-off OVA.
Probably. I don't even think it has any of the main characters, but that was something I always wanted. Just
You want more?
Because I loved Chrono Trigger as a kid.
Yeah,
And I still do. It's a great game.
fantastic.
And then, of course, when they had the PlayStation, they made the animated cutscenes, but of course that port was really bad because the load times that were everywhere. But
It's really bad.
yeah.
What about you, Mallory?
maybe that.
Oh, sorry, Mallory. What was the question, Mallory? No, I'm just joking.
No, so I remember playing like a PS2 game of Cowboy Bebop and not liking it. So if it was like my perfect game, I would design it a whole other way because it's like it's kind.
Was that the question?
Yeah.
What?
Well, I mean, because I don't really think of like animes or.
I'm just fucking with you.
or
Go.
other things that
No,
I
I'm just fucking with you. Go.
have that I'd really want switched into different platforms, So, like, if they could just update a better...
Mallory, you sound like the student that woke up in the middle of the class and you're trying to answer the fucking economics
No,
question.
I'm trying to think of it, but I really don't think that there's something that I'd want to cross-platform with yet, because sometimes they're really disappointing.
But was that the question, though?
You said you asked what video game or movie would you switch to the other side?
That's not what I said.
No.
That's what I heard.
So, you see, millennials, this is what happens when you're on your phone all the time, and you don't listen to the question that's asked during a podcast. I'm just kidding, Mallory. It's
Happy
okay.
International Women's
You got it.
Day,
You
by
get
the
you get a gold star. There's
Glad to have you
that.
back.
Welcome back to the podcast.
And it was a PS1 company.
Today's topic is...
What I thought it was PS2. You need to stop. This is why I was gone so
Okay.
long. I'm so tired of it.
the truth is finally revealed.
Right, there you go. We finally squeezed the truth out.
On this spicy
Um,
tea spilling episode.
Yeah, tea spilling episodes everywhere. So I would say Deadly Premonition, but we already have 3 seasons of Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
So obviously, that's already been done. No, for me, I would love to see a really zany, in the right hands, fucking IRL drama of fucking Yakuza. Like, just seeing the story of Kiryu played by the right, like, they were all based on real people, so a lot of those actors really do exist and everything, but just to see that, like, adaptation so people can, instead of, they're too fucking lazy to play all 100-something hours of fucking Yakuza per game, pussies, you can actually just watch the fucking, show, because I think the story is really good. I still throw in some of those, like, side story arc, filler arcs of like Kiryu chasing like a pandy bandit or something like that.
Yeah.
But then go back to like the serious, like your best friend or your whatever is about to like, and it's like really serious and you're like invested. That's the thing I love about the Yakuza series. It can be something really stupid. You're in a fucking eating contest against a fucking neckbeard and you got to do it or else you can't get the computer that you need to find your friend that's about to get killed because you know what I mean? It's like, it always swerves back and forth between lighthearted, deep as fuck. And it does that so well without losing your investment in the main characters, which is great. 80 is there any adaptation of something you'd love to see, if in the right hands, you'd like to see done?
Hell yeah. Pong by like Michael Bay.
Yeah. There you go.
Nah, mine would be like a tie between like Battletoads, so that you could continue calling pawn shops and asking them if they've got Battletoads, and then or Second Life. Second Life is like a sitcom would be amazing.
Okay. That's a good answer.
Right?
All right, Mallory. Now that you know how the answers go, what would your favorite adaptation of something be if it was done in the right
Oh
light?
my god.
You get an exam retake. Here you go.
Yeah, this is your
I'm
retest.
so gonna mess it up.
Oh.
I really can't say that I'd want to see anything like changed. That's the thing, is like I've seen like when they do video games into movies and they end up being disappointing.
That's why I just said in the right hands.
I know, but I'm like thinking about it. But
Allstate, you're in good hands.
If Allstate made this movie,
If Allstate made this
or
movie,
anime, or whatever.
go. John's pointing at me. What? You say it. Just say it.
Oh,
Unless it's something
80
bad. Don't say it.
80 relative to what you said. There's a Taika Waititi movie, however you say his name, coming out called Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds, where he's a bank teller called Guy who realizes he's a background character in an open world video game.
So like,
yes.
so like the Truman Show, but video games.
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah.
Interesting.
That'd be cool.
That could be interesting. Ryan Reynolds was Pikachu, which was a good Pokemon movie that already happened, so that's really cool.
Taika Waititi did Green Lantern. That's disappointing to find out.
Oh God, Never mind.
What if
Stop.
they make a cringy sitcom based off Gaia Online?
Oh my god. We already lived that in high school. But to see that translated into a movie or a show, sure.
That would be the.
Why the fuck not? That would be kind of great. I almost feel like
it should be like the Too Many Cooks show, though. It's
Yeah, like that. There we go.
For the entire time, he's just kicking a car. That's it.
well fucking put.
People will just make the drinking game, like, take a shot after every glomp.
Lord help me, man. Oh my god.
Just edgelords walking around everywhere.
Oh my god. While you studied the book, I was raised by the sword.
Hey guys, I'm still questing for my scarf.
Oh my god.
Shit.
The legend of the self-standing Dakimakura.
Yeah.
God, help it. Help me.
Hey, sorry to jump in, but I have one piece of gaming news. Could I contribute?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Please.
By all
Please
means.
do. By all means.
Okay, so Battle Slots, which is an indie game that has music from myself, Michael Kill, Tribe One, Sulfur on it. It won the Gamers Voice Award at South by Southwest a couple years ago in 2018.
Ooh.
It just recently got released for Nintendo Switch. And I
Nice.
think that our song is not in this release, but there is a song from Crunkwitch, and they might end up doing like a DLC that has our music in it in the future at some point.
Oh, that'd be
Cool.
dope.
Congrats.
So check that out. Switch, like my favorite console. So like fucking hell yeah, I'm down with that. So yes. Check it all out. And speaking of checking it out, make sure to check out Dual Core. We'll have the links below to their stuffs, although I'm sure dualcore.com will already take you everywhere you need to go. So we'll get that down below. Make sure to check them out. We really do want to thank you, AD, for being on here with us, spending time with our shenanigans, hearing about all this other bullshit at the beginning that you may or may not have found interesting. And we, again, thank you.
I gotta go to a K-pop show with you next time.
There you go. That would be down. Hey,
Nice.
they just need to freaking throw one in Austin so we can all do this. Or meet
Right.
up and then go to Dallas from Austin. But there's that. All right, then. So we'll check them out. Thank you, Mr. AD, for coming. Everybody else, maybe listen to the question next time. We'll do that. And until next time, you can catch us every Monday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And until the next episode, we will catch you then. Until then, we will see Valor in 3 weeks. Until then, see ya.
God.
Refreshing.